Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Women Winning Wednesdays. I am your host, Maryland attorney Elsa W. Smith, and the owner of the law offices of Elsa W. Smith, where our mission is to empower women through estate planning work. I do hope that you enjoyed our fall health and wealth series, where we featured some amazing experts in the fields of mental health and finance. If you missed any of the 4 episodes in the health and wealth series, I would encourage you to go to our YouTube channel at Elsa W. Smith Law and check them out. And by the way, be sure to subscribe while you're there. This month is National Estate Planning Awareness Month. And as I thought about what I wanted to talk about today, excuse me, I am recovering from a little bit of a cold. So as I said, as I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, I put myself in the shoes of many of the people who call our office. So I thought it would be good to talk about the initial intake process and why we have it. And so we're going to do that first, and then we're going to talk about what you should expect during the estate planning consultations. So for those of you taking notes, this is the topic for today, the intake process and what you can expect from the estate planning consultation. The hope is to really demystify the whole process so that you're informed and, quite frankly, comfortable when you do contact an estate planning attorney to get your affairs in order. So with that said, let's get started. We're first going to talk about the intake process. Okay. Now, when you contact most estate planning firms, one of the first things they'll have you do is complete what's called an intake questionnaire or form. So your question is, well, why do I have to complete it? Can I just tell you what I want over the phone and let that be it? An estate planning intake form or a questionnaire, depending on how it's called, is designed to prepare you and alleviate the stress associated with that first meeting. And so whether you were referred to us by an existing client, another professional, or simply, Googled us and found us online, the hardest part is getting started, getting all that information on paper, if you will, or in our case, on the form digitally. So the intake form helps us to document important details about you before you meet with the attorney. And the form allows us, at a glance, to see if we are going to be able to accommodate your needs. It also provides us with essential information about your matter, your case, and then decide what the next steps should be. The information that you provide is going to help us evaluate your specific needs. As I say over and over again, estate planning is not a cookie cutter process. Everyone's situation is different. And you being candid and forthright in that estate planning questionnaire is going to really give us the tools that we need to create a comprehensive estate plan that's going to meet your goals. Now, what's some of the information that we ask for on this, on this estate planning intake form? In most cases, it's going to start off by asking you about your family, the makeup of your family, names, full names, contact information, ages, and perhaps social security numbers. We're also going to ask you about your finances, Do you have stocks, bonds, bank accounts, and other investments? If so, uh, to the best of your ability, give a ballpark figure of what each of those is worth at present. We'll also ask you about retirement accounts, and that includes individual retirement accounts or IRAs, Roth accounts, any profit sharing or pension plans. We'll also ask you about life insurance policies, the type of policies, the name of the carrier, what the face value is of that particular policy. And we'll also ask you about personal property. And with that, automobiles, jewelry, antiques, things of that nature. Um, all that is important, all that, and believe me, there's a purpose for all of that, for all the questions. We're not just asking for the sake of being nosy. There's a reason for all of that. One of the, I would say, the most difficult parts for most people in the estate planning intake form comes in the personal decisions, the decision-making questions that we ask of you. They include, who do you want to be the person that's going to administer your estate? And when that's just a fancy way of saying when you die, who's going to be the person in charge of distributing assets according to your will? And hopefully you would have a will. But who is that point person, right? Who do you want to serve as your power of attorney? Now, when we talk about power of attorney, we're talking about, while you're alive, because a power of attorney document is only effective while you're alive. Another question is, who do you want appointed as a legal guardian for your children? If you have minor children, or if you have individuals with, say, special needs that still rely on you, if something were to happen to you, who do you want to serve as a legal guardian for those children? Do you want a living will? It is, what your desires with respect to medical care. That's what we're referring to when we're talking about a living will, as opposed to a last will and testament, something very different. A living will is usually a part in Maryland of the advanced medical directive or advanced directive. And it asks for your preferences of care in certain end of life or near end of life situations. And also, how do you want your personal property distributed? And on this question, a lot of people, they say, well, I just want to give all of this to this person. And it's not until they actually sit down and actually have to put their thoughts on paper, if you will, even if it's a virtual document, that certain things come to mind. Like, for example, maybe you have something you inherited, some jewelry that you inherited from a relative, maybe pearls or jewelry or something, or perhaps it's a piece of furniture that has been in your family for several generations. Who do you want that to go to? I have a number of clients who are members of sororities and fraternities. And over the years, they have accumulated a lot of memorabilia that is very special. It's very important. And they need to decide, you just don't pack up those things and give them, to give them to charity. They have a particular special, and rightfully so, significance. So you need to think about what's going to happen to those items. As I mentioned, in the fraternity and sorority example, do they Are they donated to, back to the chapter that you belong to? Do you give those items to perhaps someone, a younger member of your family who would certainly appreciate those items? So again, this whole questionnaire answering process, it's supposed to trigger, it's supposed to jar that thought process, and to help you get more organized. And I will say this.